Hello, my name is Solo Developer Tom and welcome to the first tutorial. Today you're gonna learn how to get started with Unity. So right now we're in the Unity hub, we're gonna create a new project. So you're gonna click new project. You're gonna select 3D built-in render pipeline and you can name your project whatever you want over here. I'm gonna name it project 1. So let's create the project by clicking create project and let's wait for the Unity to open. Alright, so now that the Unity is open, as you can see it has different windows. So for example, over here we have a scene view. So over here you can actually edit your level. To move around, click the wheel button. To look around, click the right mouse button. And to select the objects, click the left mouse button. So over here you have a hierarchy view. In the hierarchy view you have all the objects in the scene. So for example, right now by default you have a main camera and you have a direct light. Let's create another object. So for this, right click, go under 3D object and select cube. Now as you can see, a cube has been added. Let's select the cube. And as you can see over here, it's also in the game. So you can move it around. You can click over here to rotate it. And you can use this to scale it up. So right now we have the cube selected, and as you can see over here are all the components of the cube. So we have a transform, and we're gonna be looking today also at the colliders. So let's set this to default. We're gonna set it to 0 on the position. The rotation is gonna be also 0, and we're gonna scale it up. So we have the scale, and we're gonna select the x-axis. We're gonna set it to 100 times 100. So we're gonna use the cube for the ground. Now let's look at the main camera. So this is what the player will be seeing once he starts the game. So as you can see, the player is looking this way. And over here are the borders what the player is seeing right now. So we're gonna move it to the edge. Over here you also have a preview of what the player is looking at. So let's move it to the edge so we can see the edge of the ground, and let's move it up a little bit. And we're also gonna rotate it by 30 degrees. So type 30, and as you can see the player sees this right now. Also you can go into the game view, click on the game, and this is what the player sees right now. Alright, let's go back. Let's select main camera again, and we're gonna move it a little bit closer and a little bit up and closer, and let's see the edge like this. Okay, we're gonna create another cube now. So right click into the hierarchy view, select 3D object and cube. Now let's zoom in a little bit and let's see where the cube is. We're gonna set it to the position 0. Okay, now let's move it to the camera. So let's look at the camera is right here. Let's move it closer and let's move it up a little bit and like this. Let's see what the player is seeing. Okay, this is gonna be fine, and we're gonna go back into the scene view. We're gonna select cube 1 and we're gonna scale it up by 5. So on the x-axis we're gonna set 5, and also on the z-axis 5. So this is gonna be another platform that the player is gonna be able to stand on. Alright, now let's look at what the player is seeing. Let's go into the game and let's go back to the scene. This is fine. Now let's save our project. So we're gonna go under file, click save, and also you have to save the project. So you have to save the project and also save the scene. So what are scenes? As you can see in the project, here are all the project files. By default we have a folder created named scenes. If you go into the folder, as you can see, you have a sample scene. So this is the scene that we're looking at right now. So every scene has different objects. Once you create the scene, by default, it has a main camera and a direct light. So right now, if we create another scene, so first of all, we're gonna name it level 1. And let's go into the scene. As you can see, the scene is empty. So the scenes are basically used for different levels. Usually you have a scene for the menu and scene for different levels. Now let's go back into the sample scene, double click on the sample scene, click on level 1, and we're gonna delete it. Right click and click delete, and click delete again. Right, so now we're back into the sample scene, and as you can see we have again 2 cubes that we created previously. Now let's add a player. So we're gonna right click, create 3D object, and we're gonna use for the tutorial a capsule. Alright, so we created the capsule. Let's move it onto the platform. So first of all we're gonna set it all to 0. Now we're gonna move up and we're gonna move it onto the platform like this. Okay, so now if we move closer, let's move it closer to the platform like this and like this. Alright, let's move it a little bit above and let's see what the player is seeing right now. So as you can see, the capsule is about the cube. So now we're gonna go into the play mode. So once you click the play button, so let's click play. And as you can see, nothing happens. The player doesn't fall down, he's just flying. So whatever changes you make right now into the play mode, nothing's gonna be saved. You always have to exit the play mode when you make changes. So for example, we're in the play mode right now. As you can see, the play button is blue. If we go into the scene view and move the character, and if we stop the game, it's again in the same position, so nothing gets saved. Make sure you're not in the play mode when you make changes. So now what we're gonna do is add gravity to the player. So once we play the game, the player should fall down. So to do this, select the capsule and we're gonna scroll down. We're gonna select add component and type rigid. As you can see, we have rigid body and rigid body 2D. Rigid body 2D is used for 2D games, but because we're in the 3D game right now, we're gonna use rigid body. Once we added this, when we click the play button, the player is gonna fall down. As you can see, it has gravity, it has fallen down. Alright, so let's take a look at the glider. So gliders are used so the objects cannot pass through each other. So the capsule has a capsule glider and the cube has a box glider. So for example, if we go into the play mode so nothing will be saved, we're gonna try to remove a glider. So select the cube 1 and remove the box glider. As you can see, the capsule immediately falls through the cube. Now if we stop the play mode and if we go under capsule and we play the game again, let's remove the capsule glider. So both objects have to have a glider. Now let's click remove component, and as you can see, the capsule falls immediately through all the objects. You can also see the glider if we go into the scene view and if you zoom in to the object. As you can see, those green lines represent the collider. So if you click over here, if you select the capsule and click those dots, you can actually change the collider. So as you can see, those dots, you can click on them. So for example, we're gonna select the bottom one and we're gonna move it like this. And as you can see, the line's now changed. It looks like this, and we play it right now. So now the capsule is halfway into the ground. Now we're gonna stop and we're gonna set this back to default. So we're just gonna go under capsule, select the capsule, click the 3 dots and remove the component. Now we're gonna go back down, we're gonna add a component and we're gonna type collider. And you're gonna select the capsule collider. Alright, so now as you can see, it already fits the object. So if we play again, now it's back to normal. So let's stop the game. Alright, so this is it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, you're gonna learn how to move your character using the AWSD keys on your keyboard. So if you'd like to learn how to make your first movement script, please subscribe.